John and Jane Smith sit stiffly in a dimly lit office, answering questions from a marriage counselor. The tension is thick. They've been married 4, 5 or 6 years, they're not even sure anymore. When asked about intimacy, neither can remember the last time they had sex. It wasn't always like this. They recall their first meeting in Bogota, Colombia, a moment straight out of a romance movie. Sparks flew instantly, and in just a few days, they were married. John still remembers the way Jane looked that night. Like Christmas morning, he says. But now, their marriage feels dead. What neither of them knows is that they're both hiding the exact same secret. John and Jane aren't just your average married couple, they're elite assassins, working for rival agencies. John is reckless, relying on instinct, while Jane is cold and precise, planning every move. For years, they've been lying to each other, pretending to live a normal suburban life. Dinners, small talk, neighborhood gatherings, it's all a cover. But behind the fake smiles, they both feel it. Something is off. Then, one mission changes everything. Both are unknowingly sent after the same target, a man named Benjamin, the tank, Dan's. But when they cross paths mid-mission, their covers are blown. The job is ruined, and worse, they realize the person they've been sharing a bed with is actually their enemy. They return home, both pretending nothing happened. But the truth is clear. They've been married to their next target all along. What happens next? Pure chaos. The Smiths go from a bored married couple to deadly rivals. At first, they try to kill each other discreetly, poison drinks, rigged explosions, carefully placed traps. But neither falls for the other's tricks. The tension escalates into an all-out war. A high-speed chase through the city turns deadly as John and Jane try to outmaneuver each other, each determined to take the other down first. But every time one gains the upper hand, the other counters perfectly. They're too evenly matched. Then comes the breaking point. Back home, their quiet suburban house turns into a battlefield. Guns blaze, glass shatters, and walls crumble as they go head-to-head in a brutal fight. They punch, kick, and dodge each other's attacks with assassin-level precision. Everything they once loved about each other, the passion, the skill, the fire, turns into pure destruction. And then, after a final standoff, they find themselves pointing guns at each other. A moment of silence. John hesitates first. He lowers his weapon. Jane, breathing heavily, realizes she can't pull the trigger either. Years of deception, betrayal, and anger suddenly fade. Their weapons drop to the floor. And just like that, the passion returns, not in violence, but in fire. Their fight turns into something much more intimate. But the real fight is just beginning. Now that their secret is out, their employers see them as a liability. A massive bounty is placed on their heads, $400,000 each. Even John's best friend, Eddie, is offered the job. He refuses, knowing what's coming. Soon, their house is surrounded by assassins. Bullets tear through walls, grenades explode, and chaos erupts. John and Jane barely escape as their home is obliterated. On the run, they hijack a minivan and get into a deadly chase against armored vehicles. Despite the gunfire and explosions, they argue like a married couple. John's reckless driving, Jane's control issues, it's all still there. But now, it's different. They're in sync. They wipe out their pursuers with a mix of skill, luck, and perfectly timed teamwork. With nowhere left to go, they turn to Eddie, who reluctantly offers them shelter. But they need a plan. The only person who might have answers. Benjamin, Dan's the target that started it all. They track him down, kidnap him, and demand the truth. What he tells them changes everything. Dan's was never the real target. Their agency set them up, baiting them into killing each other. They were never meant to survive. Realizing they have no other choice, John and Jane stop running. They decide to fight back. Their battleground, a massive department store. They rig the place with traps, gear up, and prepare for war. Then, the attack begins. Dozens of assassins storm in, heavily armed and ready to kill. But this time, the Smiths aren't fighting each other. They're fighting together. Moving as one, they take out waves of enemies with perfect coordination. Dodging bullets, improvising weapons, and covering each other's backs, they prove their deadliest as a team. After an intense, explosive battle, they stand victorious. Bodies everywhere, smoke in the air. The two share a knowing look. This is who they really are. Not just husband and wife, but partners.